Welcome to the Beginner's Guide to Grand Spin. First, I'll give you a quick overview, then we'll go step by step to get you ready for battle. Let's begin. Here's a super quick, broad overview. Grand Spin is a head-to-head dueling card game played one champion at a time. Each player builds a small deck, summons champions onto their bench, and sends them into battle across a series of rounds. When two champions face off, both players spin their cards in their fate spinners to determine the initiative and decide which champion gets to attack. As the game progresses, players manage their bench, activate abilities and type bonuses, and deal damage to their opponent's life total. Get your opponent's life total to 0, and you win the game. Kinda get the gist? Let's get you set up so you can get your feet wet. You'll need 120 cards to build your decks with, 2 fate spinners to spin your champions, some dice to help you keep track of damage, and life counters to track each player's life. And quick start helper cards. Use these to help you understand game flow and abilities. Keep these close by when you're first starting out. They're super handy to reference whenever you need. Okay, now you've got your battle supplies. Next, each player builds a 20-card deck from the entire collection of champions. Check out the rulebook to see a few different options for deck building. If you're just starting out, I highly recommend you start with the suggested decks in the rulebook. Let's go over the layout of the play area. Here we see a deck of 20 cards. Here's the bench, which has 3 slots for champions. These are the champions available to you for battle. Then there's your crypt. This is where your cards go after being destroyed or used in battle. Let's get into the game. At the start of the game, both players spin their fate spinners. Whoever's spinner lasts the longest becomes the first attacking player. After this initial round, the attacker in each round will be determined by who won the previous battle. While you wait the fate spinners, set both players' life total to 30. Looks like the bottom player's spinner lasted longer and will be going first. Now let's go over the starting draw. Each player summons 3 champions from the top of their deck to their bench. Anytime you place a card on your bench, it's called summoning. Now, you could take a mulligan here, but check out the rulebook for mulligan rules once you're comfortable with the basics. During the first draw, the defending player may place a summoned champion face down, hidden from the attacker. This is only allowed on the first starting draw. Now it's time for the attacking player's selection phase. The attacking player selects Charging Babbletosk for battle. Now this is important. Every time a champion is selected for battle, 2 things are activated: type bonuses and abilities. These can be used in any order. Let's go over type bonuses first. When a champion is selected for battle, its controller may activate a type bonus for each of their champion types as long as they have at least one undetained champion on their bench that shares a type with it. Charging Babbletosk shares the beast type with a card on the bench, which means that its type bonus can be activated. That allows the player to wound, dealing 1 damage to a bench champion. They choose to wound their opponent's champion, Bounce Brigade. Bounce Brigade has 2 total HP. 1 more damage would destroy it and send it to the crypt. But for now, it remains wounded on the bench. You also activate a champion's abilities when it's selected for battle. Charging Babbletosk has 2 abilities listed here. Ability clauses are always separated by a semicolon. First is the charge ability. The effect listed after charge only triggers if you're the attacking player. In this case, they are, so Charging Babbletosk gains +2 initiative for this battle. And for the second ability listed here, Charging Babbletosk gives all their beast types that same charge +2 initiative next round. Hopefully that will come in handy for the next battle. Okay, now it's the defending player selection phase. Remember, the defending player is able to conceal one of their bench champions just for the starting round, so they'll reveal it, and it's Jib and Dib. Oh, it looks like they're going to select them for battle. And what happens every time a champion is selected for battle? You guessed it. Every time a champion is selected for battle, 2 things are activated: type bonuses and abilities. And since these can be used in any order, this player is going to decide to use their abilities first. Looks like we have a choice to make. You can either wound a card twice for each frog on your bench, or gain 2 life for each frog on your bench. We've got 2 frogs on our bench, so the player could either wound a card for 4, or gain 4 life points, taking their life total all the way up to 34. They choose to go the aggressive route and wound one of their opponent's bench cards, King of Beasts, for 4 points. King of Beasts only has 2 health, so he is destroyed. Not only is that card now in the crypt, but whenever a card is destroyed while it's on that player's bench, that player will lose life equal to that champion's attack. So they will lose 4 life in this instance. Let's not forget though, they haven't used their type bonus yet. Jib and Dib is a frog type, and we've got frogs on the bench unlocking their type bonus, Bounce. That allows a player to shuffle a bench champion back into the owner's deck. They choose to bounce their own card, Bounce Brigade, back into the deck. And this is smart because it removes that 1 damage it had, giving the player a chance to summon it again at full life later in the game. Now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for, the spin. Let's battle. Each player slides their selected champion into their fate spinners and spins their fate. Jib and Dib spin an initiative of 1, and Charging Babbletosk spins a 3, and remember, it has +2 initiative from their charge ability, so a total of 5. Sorry Jib, sorry Dib, it's not even close. Since charging Babeltusk spun a higher initiative, they get to attack. They hit Jib and Dib for 2 damage, and since Jib and Dib only have 1 health point, they're destroyed and will be sent to the crypt. If the resulted spin ever feels unclear, the rulebook includes guidelines for clarifying results and resolving disagreements. Now that we have 1 card in battle destroyed, we've hit the last phase of the round, the damage phase. In the damage phase, the card that won the battle deals damage to the opponent's life total equal to its attack, and then is placed into the crypt. Again, Babeltusk has 2 attack, so the top player loses 2 life, and the winning card's owner becomes the attacking player next round. So, bottom player immediately starts the summoning phase, and the next round begins. Let's pick up the pace now. They select Hull Crusher Titan for battle. Remember, now's the time for abilities and type bonuses. First off, remember charging Babeltusk from last round gives charge +2 initiative to all beasts this round. Hull Crusher Titan is a beast, and they're attacking, so he gets +2 initiative this battle. Next is Hull Crusher's ability, which requires you to destroy a card on your own bench. Now, why would anyone want to do that? Well, it looks like they've got lucky, and they've got Horned Phoenix on their bench. And Horned Phoenix ability says that when you destroy that card while it's benched, your opponent will lose 3 life instead of you. The player destroys Horned Phoenix, he goes to the crypt, and the top player loses 3 life. It also says you may return Horned Phoenix back to your bench at the end of your selection phase, but they choose not to do that this time around. Don't forget to use your type bonus if you've got it. They choose to wound Duke of Riverton for 1 point of damage. And with that, we move to the defending player's summoning phase. Wow, look at that. Bounce Brigade was summoned to the bench again. Remember he was bounced last round when he had damage on him? It looks like he's back now with full life. The defending player will select him for battle, because if we look at his abilities, he gets +3 initiative while he's undamaged. It also has the critical strike ability. So if he spins an initiative number 3 higher than his opponent, he will deal double damage. Don't forget the type bonuses. They have a tough choice here. They could bounce Go and gain 2 life points from his ability, but instead they choose to bounce Duke of Riverton, removing that 1 damage from him and shuffling him back into their deck. Alright, time for another battle. I'm excited to see how this spin turns out. Holy moly, Bounce Brigade spun a 2 initiative +3, so a total of 5, and Hull Crusher Titan spun a 0 +2, so 2. That's wild, because remember, since Bounce Brigade spun 3 or more initiative than their opponent, that enables their critical strike ability, damaging Hull Crusher for a double damage for a total of 4 points. That destroys Hull Crusher Titan and passes on that 4 damage to the bottom player in the damage phase. And since the top player won the battle, the tables have turned and now they are the attacking player this round. Dang, what a great round for them. Okay, that covers basic game flow. Now that we have some context, let's go over the champion's type bonus abilities. Beasts. As we've seen already, beasts can wound, causing damage to bench champions. Last scenario, we wounded one of our opponent's champions, but sometimes it actually might make sense to wound a champion on your own bench. Keep an eye out for the Bloodlust ability and see what you can activate with a wound to your own champions who have it. On to frogs. As we've seen, frogs can bounce bench champions, shuffling them back into their owner's deck. Last scenario, they bounce their bench champion back into their deck to remove damage, which can be really handy. But you can also bounce your enemy's bench champions too. That's useful for when your opponents have a pesky him ability that keeps getting in your way, or to cause chaos and interrupt long-term plans your enemy is setting up. Here's a type we haven't seen yet, Cultist. They drain, which deals 1 damage to other cultists on their bench. If that drained cultist has a sacrament ability, that becomes active upon draining, making the player more powerful, giving them extra abilities, or sometimes even allowing them to summon other more powerful champions from their deck or crypt. And lastly, Knights. They can detain any bench card, turning it sideways. While detained, a champion cannot be selected for battle. It also can't be wounded, detained again, drained, or bounced. It doesn't completely take them out of play though. As you can see on the helper card, there are still some things that can happen to them, and any him ability is still active. However, detained cards do not count towards activating type bonuses, which is a real big one. The detained champion stays detained until next round during the summoning phase of that player. Multiple type bonuses can be activated in the same play if they're available to you. For example, here we see Bounce Brigade. He's a frog and a knight type, and we have both a frog and a knight on our bench. So the bottom player chooses to bounce their own card back into their deck, and also detain one of their opponent's cards, removing them as an option for the defender to bring into battle until the next round. Finally, let's walk through a little more complex endgame scenario here. Okay, the top player is attacking and they're going to select Crypt Keeper for battle, which we all know at this point means they can activate type bonuses and abilities, right? Crypt Keeper allows you to put 1 card from your deck into your crypt, or 1 card from your crypt onto the top of your deck. Let's see here. We've got a card detained on our bench, Innis the Immortal, who stays detained unless Innis the Devout is in the crypt. The player uses Crypt Keeper's ability to find Innis the Devout in their deck and put them into the crypt, which undetains Innis the Immortal. They then use their type bonus to drain Gene the Zealous, which activates their Sacrament ability, giving Crypt Keeper +1 initiative for this battle. Now onto the bottom player's summoning and selection phases. This is where things go crazy, so stay with me here. After summoning on their bench, they select Koi Danzo for battle. Their ability destroys all bench cards with exactly 1 HP remaining. They also have a Frenzy ability, which gets activated once for every bench card they destroy this round. That could potentially be a deadly combo. Here they choose to use their type bonus first, wounding Innis the Immortal, bringing them down to 1 HP. They then use their ability, destroying all bench cards with exactly 1 HP. Now remember, whenever a bench card is destroyed, the player loses life equivalent to the destroyed card's attack. Koi Danzo destroys both Gene and Innis on their opponent's bench, causing a loss of 8 total life. Atrotho Fate Weaver on their own bench also has 1 HP, so they're also destroyed, and the bottom player loses 3 life as well. Decent trade-off, I'd say. The top player reminds them that when Gene the Zealous is put into the crypt, it activates their Sacrament 2 additional times, giving their card in battle an additional +2 initiative this round. So the top player now has +3 initiative in total. Now for Koi Danzo. 3 cards have been destroyed, activating Koi Danzo's Frenzy ability 3 times, doubling their initiative each time. Time for battle. Crypt Keeper spins a 1 + 3, so 4 total initiative. And Koi Danzo spins a 2, which we're going to double 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. Koi Danzo attacks Crypt Keeper for 6, destroying that card and passing that 6 damage to the top player, bringing their life total down to 0. Wow, 14 damage in a single round.
The bottom player wins the game.
Thanks for watching the Beginner's Guide to Grand Spin. Hopefully this helps you wrap your head around the basics. Now we didn't cover absolutely everything, so keep your rulebook and quick start helper cards with you and play some games. Don't worry if you missed a thing here or there, the most important thing is that you have fun. Alright, thanks for playing Grand Spin, Godspeed champions.